Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and we're looking at another Abbott and Costello film. I decided to start off with the Abbott and Costello meet the Universal Monsters series because I think those are my favorite, with a couple of others also along with it. There's a lot of films in this in that they did. But yeah, meeting the Universal Monsters are kind of my favorite because watching Costello getting scared and when he is face to face with one of these monsters is a big highlight. And yeah, so these movies have been part of my part of my life from the time that I was around 13, 14 years old, which is like 30 years ago, right? I think back in 89 or 90, it's one of these years that I actually was introduced to Abbott and Costello by some cousins of mine who had come recently moved from the UK to India, and I used to sit and watch with them, and some of my other cousins over here as well try to get into these movies. But I absolutely adored Abbott and Costello. It was back in 2011 that I re-watched a lot of these movies after a very long gap, and then now I'm watching them again. Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man is the second movie in this series that I'm going to do. I don't really know how many of these movies I'm going to do a review of, but yeah, definitely all these favorites of mine, I definitely am going to do it. So this movie is from 1951. It's called a science fiction comedy film, not really a horror comedy film, but yeah, it of course stars Bud Abbott and Lou Costello. They also have Nancy Guild and Arthur France. Adele Jurgens, I believe, who's plays a character called Boots Marsden. And when I was young, I actually found it funny. I actually kept hearing it as Boots. So yeah, I'm still mentally 13 years old. Anyway, so Lou and Bud are recently graduated from a detective school. A private detective school, and it's made very obvious that they had to kind of pass Costello's character, and it's like really hilarious. But their first so they set up their own business. Their first client is Tommy Nelson, played by Arthur France, who is a middleweight boxer who's been accused of murdering his was his manager? Yeah, as a manager. And he was put in jail. He escaped from jail and comes to meet them. He hires them, and so initially Abbott's character is called Bud. So Bud just wants to get some money, that he can make off, by telling the cops where excuse me, Tommy Nelson is. But later on, they find out that they understand that he is actually innocent. So it is actually, in fact, another fighter as well as a boxing promoter who actually killed the manager because Tommy wouldn't throw a match rather. He wouldn't actually do that for match fixing purposes. He didn't want to be part of it, and as a threat to him and try to put him in trouble, they murdered his manager and pinned the murder on him. So that is the basic outline, and of course it is now up to our two bumbling detectives to actually clear Tommy Nelson's name. So how they actually find out is how they actually do that is Helen Gray is the fiancée of Tommy, and her uncle is a professor, Dr. Philip Gray, and he has in his possession a secret serum which can turn a person invisible, and it was created by another scientist by the name of Jack Griffin, who was driven mad after using the formula multiple times, and he lost the ability to come back into visibility, and you could only see him after he was killed. So what they do is they decide, they have to evade the cops because they suspect Tommy is, being hidden by these two detectives. So they pretend that Costello is going to be a new boxer called, what is the name? I forgot the name that they actually use. It isn't mentioned over here. Louis the Loop or something like that. So obviously, the way they're doing it is he will pretend to punch while Invisible Tommy will knock out the other person. So he fights against at the at the at the gym. He fights against this corrupt boxer named of Rocky Hanlon, played by John Day. He knocks him out cold. So a lot of funny scenes where, like, Costello is really hamming it up, pretending to be boxing and doing it different ways and all that stuff. I don't remember what you call that thing, that ball that kind of hangs from the top and you keep punching it to as practice. So there's all that funny stuff. He is being seduced by the lady character, Boots Marsden, and of course he falls hook, line, and sinker for her tricks. So in the end, of course, at the fight, at the day, he wins the fight because he's able to beat Rocky Hanlon with the help of Tommy. But there's a lot of funny things happening. There's way too much to go into detail. And in the end, they are able to get, Tommy is actually badly injured. He's shot by the villains, but using a blood transfusion between Lou and Tommy, they're able to bring him back to save his life. And Tommy becomes visible once again. However, Lou becomes invisible, and he decides to go and have some fun and kisses a nurse. But when he comes back visible, he is completely naked. So he uses a sheet and covers himself almost like a diaper. But his feet are on the back, like they're facing backwards. I don't know how that happened. But that's the end of the movie, and it is funny, physical comedy, physical humor. It is a laugh riot. It's a pretty short film, right? It's only 82 minutes, so I think you can definitely enjoy it. If you like these black and white comedy movies, from the past, if you like Charlie Chaplin, I'm going to keep mentioning that. So I always compare him with Charlie Chaplin, compare these two guys with Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, Laurel and Hardy, those kind of things. But I haven't really watched anything by Buster Keaton. I do know about it though. But what I have to say is, excuse me, you'll snort come here. That's SNORT, snort. So what I have to say is that these are really, almost like an innocent humor a little bit compared to what we see in comedy films nowadays, and even say going back to the 90s. I would actually say that this is maybe it's not something you can watch with the entire family. While the Frankenstein movie was, this one, it is pretty enjoyable though. I think you will have fun with it. Just don't think too much about it and just watch the film. It is pretty funny. Rating for this movie, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It helps that it's a little bit short because the boxing scene and the fight that you actually see is kind of lengthy. So it doesn't really tax you too much. Because it's only 82 minutes in there. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's probably there among my top 5 movies of Abbott and Costello. Frankenstein definitely is number 1. But yeah, this is definitely in the top 5, I guess. So we will see you again pretty soon with some other Abbott and Costello movie reviews as well as some other reviews coming up shortly. Thank you guys.